Good morning. I believe this is episode 16 of my Around the Kent Coast Cycling Challenge, so it's really good to have you back. There's lots of exciting stuff to see today, so let's get going around the coast. So today's route is going to be really good. We're going along the southeast edge of the Isle of Sheppy, which is quite barren. There's no real towns that we go through. So we're going to start here at Nudist Beach. We're going to go towards Shellnes, Hamlet, and head along the swale to the Ferry House Inn. And then we're going to come back along the Isle of Harty Trail, which is a kind of inland kind of footpath and cycleway. So it's going to be a really good episode. Hopefully you'll join me for the entire route. So we're just walking along Nudist Beach here, which is quite nice. So I kind of googled a few facts about Nudist Beach. It's quite interesting facts actually. The first fact is Robbie Williams filmed his music video here, which is I Love My Life. Unfortunately, I had to take the sound up that clip because YouTube may claim that I was trying to copyright material. But there you go. So the second fact about Nudist Beach is not this part, but the far end. There is actually a nudist beach. I believe it's Kent's only nudist beach, which is quite interesting. It's not my kind of thing, if I'm honest. And if I was just out on a kind of general cycle, I wouldn't choose to cycle past it. But it's kind of a bit of coastline, so I didn't want to miss out. I am going to cycle down that way. I won't do any filming, and I may have to edit my head cam, but I'll see how it goes. It is quite cold today, so hopefully there won't be anyone about, but there you go. So let's carry on around the coast. So just over my left shoulder now, you may just see it in the distance, is a little hamlet of Shellnes, which is kind of on the very southeast of the Isle of Sheppy. So let's go and have a closer look at that now.
At the very end of Shellnes Beach on the southeast side of the Isle of Sheppy, there is Shellnes Hamlet. Now this is a small hamlet that is all owned by one landowner, and judging by the keep out signs and the large fences around the hamlet, they really enjoy their privacy and are not accustomed to visitors. So when you reach the keep out signs, there is the option of turning right and heading across the Harty Isle towards the Ferry House Inn. That's where we'll be heading now.
So we've ridden to the end of Shellnes Beach now, and we've kind of turned the corner and we're going along the southern edge of the Isle of Sheppy. We're on what's called the Isle of Harty, which was once an island of its own, separated from the mainland of Sheppy by a river called Capel Fleet. Now this long since silted up. It used to be a mile across, but you may just see the remnants here with the reeds in the background. There is a little stream there, but there's not much left of the original river. As I pan round on the southern edge, you will see the swale in the distance. There is a lot of marshland. I would say probably about half a mile of marshland in between me and the swale now. So we can't get a lot closer to the water's edge, which is a bit of a shame. We're kind of going to head across the kind of Harty Isle and see what we can find across there. Let's get going. So we've just cycled along the path through Hardy Isle. It was quite nice. The path was very bumpy and very hard going for cycling, but we persevered through. I'm a bit out of breath. As you can see behind me, the swale has got a lot closer. It's quite nice. I can see some what looks like herons sitting in an old shipwreck, which is quite nice. I'm sure you can't see, so I may get my zoom camera out in a minute, try and get some shots. But as I pan round, the path continues kind of over that hill over there, and you'll just see the kind of remnants of the river seem to be getting a little bit wider here. The old Fleet River, as it goes off towards the kind of Shellnes side of the coast. But it's all very nice here, lots of wildlife. Let's carry on around the swale.
As we come to the southern edge of the Isle of Sheppy, we find the church of St Thomas the Apostle, which overlooks the Swale River towards Faversham. The date that the church was founded is not exactly known, but it is thought to be either the late 11th century or early 12th century. This church has a title as being one of the remotest in Kent. It is different from most churches as it has no electricity or running water. Lighting in the nave is provided by hanging paraffin lamps and by wall-mounted lamps with reflectors. The parish for the church is the Diocese of Canterbury within the Deanery of Sittingbourne. Although there is no weekly service, a service is still held once a month for local residents. Let's continue to look around this ancient church.
So we've just come to the end point of our journey along the Swale. We will be heading inland along the Isle of Harty Trail, so that'd be good. But I'm just going to pan round, and you'll see behind me the Ferry House Inn just over my left shoulder. It's kind of a restaurant and pub, and I think they do weddings and stuff. As I go further, you'll see kind of carrying on around the Swale. It's all private land now, so we can't cycle around there. But it's quite interesting here. You'll kind of see an old kind of landing spot. Until 1947 there used to be a ferry that was kind of one of the main crossings to the Isle of Sheppy. So kind of this area wasn't so remote. There used to be a lot of people travelling across here, and they used to kind of come from Faversham way, which is just across the Swale. You can't quite see Faversham because I think it's a bit inland, but we will be going through that in a few episodes. But it's all very interesting. So now we're just going to head back inland along the Harty Trail to see what we can find. So we're coming to the end of the Isle of Harty Trail now. It was quite nice. It's a bit like a long farm track, but we did see a few nice things along the way coming from the Swale. There was a Ferry House Inn in the old church, which was very nice. As you can see here, there is a lot of kind of oilseed rape growing along the path. this will be completely yellow probably in a few weeks time. We are a bit early for that, so that would be quite nice to see if you were kind of cycling along here at that time. We are heading towards Shellnes Beach now, which is in the distance, so that's where we're going now, past through the RSPCB land, through the sheep grazing field. So let's head that way now. Thanks for joining me in part 16. Next week we will be heading towards Elmley Marshes, which is kind of more on the southern edge of the Isle of Sheppy. So see you then in part 17.